Hi Year 9, I hope you're all well. This week's task is to draw or paint an image in the style of Georgia O'Keeffe's paintings. So I'm not asking you to copy an image, I am asking you to create an image inspired by her work. So the example that I've provided has a background, a flower and a skull, like bones. So what I want you to do, a skeleton even, what I want you to do is, using the reference images, combine them to create a Georgia O'Keeffe style drawing or painting. So take maybe one of the flowers and the skull and the background and create your own Georgia O'Keeffe painting or drawing if you don't have any paints. You may also choose to use oil pastels or colouring pencils. I don't mind, that is fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've created a time-lapse videos. They're quite short, they're like 20 seconds each. So I'm going to break it up. I'm going to show you the task broken up. So the first video would be the background, and then I've drawn a skull, and then I drew a flower, and then I combined them together into a collage. You may choose to do that, or you may choose to do it all in one go, that's fine. But for today's demonstration, I have chosen to do it in 3 different parts, and this is because I used watercolours for the background, and then I used pencil, and then I used colouring pencils. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you the time lapse, and then I will talk about the time lapse after I have after you've watched them. Okay, so as you can see, I use watercolours. I don't have the same watercolours that you do at school, and my watercolours are very pigmented, which meant that the colours were very rich and vibrant, as you can see. If you are using watercolours, I would recommend that you start with the lightest colour and then build on it. So you might start with the lightest green with quite a lot of water, but not too much, because you don't want to ruin your paper, and also you don't want to make it wet and soggy. You need to be able to work on it, so keep cleaning your paintbrush. But going back to it, you need to use your lightest colour first and then build up on it. And make sure with watercolour it's quite difficult to blend colours because you need to work quite fast, so make sure you know what colour is going where. As you can see, sometimes I did choose to use the darker colour first. That's just because of how I work. Some of you I know work in the same way as I do, but for those of you that are trying to use watercolours for perhaps the first time or aren't really used to using them, I would highly recommend you use the lightest colour first. Like I said, do not use too much water. Try it, just keep trying, try blending the colours. If you're not very confident with blending colours straight away, test it on a scrap piece of paper and send me an image of that paper on Show My Homework, and then I can give you feedback. Or if you would prefer that I created a YouTube video showing you, demonstrating how to blend watercolours better, and I can talk through it, let me know and I would do that and Show My Homework. Okay, so let's move on to number 2. Number 2 was a skeleton drawing. So the second medium that I used was drawing pencil. I used a HB pencil that most of you should have at home. So what I did first is I drew the outline of the skeleton, looking closely at the features, and then I shaded the skeleton in. I focused on the darkest areas first, and then I lightly shaded the entire face. And that was because, as you can see in the drawing on your handout, there is no white apart from the side of the mouth, so the actual skeleton is grey. So I wanted to start by creating that grey tone on the skeleton, and then I rubbed out the lightest parts using a rubber. I'd recommend you doing that. I know that in class we have a lot of the time concentrated on creating the lightest tone using your pencil, but I do want you to try and create your lightest tone using a rubber. If you don't have that, then remember, put the least amount of pressure on your pencil and then create the lightest tone. Also remember when creating form that you need to shade in the direction. So if you look at the skeleton, I do change the way that the direction of my pencil. So make sure that you are doing that. And again, if you have any problems with the drawing task, let me know on Show My Homework and I will help you as best as I can. The final medium I'm going to demonstrate is the use of colouring pencils. The same rules apply as a HB pencil. You need to change the amount of pressure that you're putting onto your pencil, and you also need to ensure that you are following the direction of your shape. So with the flower, you need to make sure you're following the direction of the petals, and that way you're creating a form. You're making it look 3D and more realistic. If you have any questions with the colouring pencils, again, send it to me on Show My Homework. Lastly, I cut out the skeleton and the flower and stuck it onto the background using glue, creating a Georgia O'Keeffe inspired collage. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions at all, please do let me know on Show My Homework. I look forward to seeing all the fantastic work you are creating. I will send you feedback to the work that you're creating, so make sure you take a picture and send it to me. Take care, Year 9.